And now it's time for one of my personal favourites, Best Original Track.
One of two music categories this year.
Yes, we care a lot about music on this site, as we always say, but this is like the best track that works in-game but can also stand on its own merits.
Well, I think that the original track specifier there is it's a track written for the
game. Yeah,
game.
not a licensed song.
Not a licensed track, and it's also not best use of music.
No,
it is
the best song.
Legitimately outside of the game, which is the best music from a game.
So we've got a long list.
It's a long.
So we've got Tusk from Yakuza 0.
Do you want to actually just kind of group these into the games?
Yeah, if you want to do that, then
I'm going to start doing that while you're reading.
So we've got Tusk from Yakuza 0, Judgment from Yakuza 0, Everything Will Be Okay from Prey, Alex's theme from Prey, Pascal from Nier Automata, Amusement Park from Nier Automata, Studiopolis 1 from Sonic Mania, Flying Battery Zone 1 from Sonic Mania, Cryptometrics from The Mummy Demastered, the title theme from The Mummy Demastered, Last Surprise, Layer Cake, and what's the other one? Life Will Change and Life Goes On, all from Persona 5. The Farm from Destiny 2, New Heights and El Manchino from SteamWorld Dig 2, the Safe Room music from Resident Evil 7, In the Flame and Vagrant Song from Pyre, Floral Fury and Carnival Kerfuffle from Cuphead, Wooded Kingdom from Super Mario Odyssey, and the one track from Game Hidden by Mum 2.
Oh wait, the one we listened to before we started recording was 1, was it not?
It's the same song.
It's
the same music.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we were actually...
No, it's the same music.
We were talking about the same song.
It's the exact same music.
Okay, so we should probably work down this.
So you're the Yakuza's... I've played Yakuza as well, I don't know what it
shit.
is. So Tusk is combat music.
Tusk's one of the combat music tracks. And
is that the song that's playing in that FMV where you drop kick someone out a window?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's one of the ones that is... It comes up randomly, but it's usually in like set fights as part of the story, which is... It's just a great like... I'm going to fuck these people up.
Yeah, high amp.
Yeah.
Let's kill people.
And then Judgment is one of the karaoke songs.
Complete opposite to that song.
Total opposite. Like, I would kind of want to play a bunch of these while we're talking about them, but it's such a like logistical nightmare to do. You can just look these up. I'm a big fan of these because I listened to that soundtrack more than I expected to this year.
More than you probably should have.
Probably more than I should have. And it's not even stuff that I'm particularly into normally.
No.
It's just, there's something about
Judgment's like an 80s like heavy rock song that is like...
No, it's more kind of like glam rock.
Yeah, glam rock is the word I was looking for. That works perfectly.
There's also For Buddy, which is not on this list, but is the dubstep song that's in the middle of that. Which is like a Yakuza set in the 80s, and there's a dubstep track that kicks in halfway through.
Because they know it works. Like it's,
and it totally does work in that scenario. There's also a lot of... We're not talking about soundtrack.
We're not talking about soundtrack. So Everything Will Be Okay from Prey is the song at the very beginning when you're on the helicopter ride to Transtar.
Yep.
It's a very good like pop song that is, or very like electronic kind of
atmospheric electronic track. And Alex's theme is
the song that I think kind of encapsulates that soundtrack really. It's all very ambient and foreboding, but has these elements of like guitar and stuff in it that works very well. Pascal is the music that plays in the robot village. That is... It's a cool kind of orchestral song, but it's backed up by these kind of like child singing in that weird language that they invented that's kind of like French.
It's weird that like we're talking about original like specific tracks from that soundtrack because there's some logistical things about that soundtrack that are important to mention, where like every one of these tracks has 3 kind of intensities. And so especially for the Pascal one, like I think between those two I'm probably more Pascal because I can't even remember what the 3 levels are, but the early one, like the least intensive one, is just the instrumental with no voices. And then as you get closer to the village, it starts layering the vocals on top of it and the choir on top of it, which is really, really good.
It works for what that setting is because it's a bunch of robots that are like naive and like new to the whole idea of social, and so they're learning, so they're children, so that's why you have them.
The amusement park's real good.
That's just a really good track. Like it's just...
It is, and it's also like...
It has that kind of like organ grinder background that has the amusement park feel.
But it's also got like the... Especially when you walk into that... The first time you walk into the amusement park in Nier, and like it's got like the fake Magic Kingdom castle in the back, and there's the fireworks going off, and there's a parade of robots coming down to you. And I think it was just a complete fluke. And I know we're talking about but not best use of music. But like... The Parade felt like it was moving in time to the music. Turns
Yeah.
out it wasn't.
Yeah.
But it was fucking close.
It was close,
that
yeah.
first time. I was like, this is...
It's all just robots marching around.
Yeah,
and,
and especially because like the way you get to it, and you just kind of turn this corner through the forest, and suddenly you're at this amusement park with this music and all these like
robots with like clown faces and
it's really I like that one a lot.
It's a good track.
Pascal's probably the one I would think more about that.
Pseudopolis 1 is the music to the first like original level in Sonic Mania, like one that's not based off an old one or a remake or whatever.
Yep.
And it just has this like real jazzy kick to it that works really well, and it's just on its own, it's just a really good track. And then there's Flying Battery Zone 1, which is a level based on something from Sonic 3.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most like not new Sonic soundtracks, but old Sonic soundtracks, like Sonic songs you can get.
Yeah.
It's all high intensity, go fast, like upbeat tempo, like it's just the one of the most Sonic songs you'll ever hear. Cryptometrics
is so the fact that there's 2 songs from the soundtrack on here, neither of us have played the game.
Yeah.
Says a lot. Cryptometrics, I have no idea. Like the title theme.
So I heard I'd kind of try and my best to keep on top of like soundtracks and video games throughout the year, and it was something that I told you about where it was like it does the classical kind of 8-bit 16-bit soundtrack thing, but layers the modern instruments on top of it to kind of give it backup and stuff like that, and Cryptometric shows that off really well.
I think it seems like one of those things that's like, again, it's not as people that kind of missed the 16-bit era, because we never really had like SNESes or Genesises or that kind of stuff.
I've gone back to it, but
yeah, we've gone back to it, but like at the time, like when people talk about these soundtracks and they talk about like their nostalgia for that era of stuff, why everything is now sounds like that, why there are now genres of music sound like that, it feels like that soundtrack is what your naive child brain would think those soundtracks sounded like. Like there's a level of clarity to some of the stuff in there that there was no way that console could have done.
No. But there are certain instrumentals that just you couldn't do on that soundtrack.
Cryptometrics is just a great.
It's on its own as an amazing track. Like
fantastic.
It's just a good electronica, like really ambient, really foreboding style track.
There's a melody, there's a real beat behind it. Like that song almost made me pick that game up until I read some things about the game and I'm like, yeah, maybe not. But fuck me, that soundtrack. And like the fact that soundtrack came out, that game came out in like November.
Yeah, late last year.
Like October, November in 2017.
Yeah.
And that track was up there in my most played of Spotify 2017. Like when they gave you the list, like it was up there. Like over 2 months, over everything.
It's a really good track. And the title theme is again very similar to it, but it does the right thing, which title theme music, where it has that melody that's really distinctive and kind of gets in your head very easily. And
it feels very much like it's got elements of who's the guy that does soundtracks for Alien and stuff like that. Like there's a very kind of apprehensive tone to it. Where it's like you're about to get stuff's about to go real bad.
Something's bad here.
So I like that.
So now we get onto the Persona 5 tracks.
Like, hey, surprise, surprise! There's a lot of Persona 5 tracks. That are real good.
Yeah. So last surprise is the battle music that is in there because it's an amazing track and gets stuck in your head after about 5. Like you play it once and it's stuck in your head.
I will say, like, it's a fucking great track.
Yeah.
The 5 hours I've played of that game.
Yeah.
I kind of hope it changes at some. I know it doesn't. But like
it does not.
the concept of another 50 hours of that track.
What happens is that you get better at combat, so you hear it less. Like it kicks in and then it goes away again. Like it's
okay.
And the boss themes are way different. Like
sure,
different themes to the bosses.
And it like the moment where that track turns to chorus.
I don't know how this happened, but it seems so perfectly timed for me when you would do the all out attack.
Yeah.
And when it hit the peak of the like hitting go on the all attack would hit the peak of the chorus.
Yeah,
it worked amazingly.
Also, like the way it comes off at the end when the combat finishes, like every time it felt really natural. And it works quite
handled really well. Layer Cake is the song from the Gun Shop. Which is just great ambient.
I was really looking forward to getting to the Gun Shop just purely because of that.
Yeah,
track.
and you were talking about it earlier where it was like it subverts, like it goes. The intro goes completely one way where it's like, which mimics the character behind the counter, where it was like really like weird and dark and kind of sketchy, but then goes off in the Persona kind of jazz funky, after about 10 seconds.
It sounds like I don't mean this to sound as negative as it comes across, but it sounds like elevator music in like a really expensive, sketchy hotel.
Yes, I understand what you
like
mean. Yeah,
you feel kind of uneasy,
which is kind of there because all it is ambient music for a shop. Like that's kind of.
but it's real. Like,
but it's so good that
yeah, it's the thing about a lot of the soundtrack that I think we'll talk about when we get to best soundtrack. But like, they're not scared of putting vocals in any of these tracks.
Never have
and
been.
It's such a unique thing for games because like a lot of the times some of those tracks are playing,
yeah,
the characters are talking.
Yeah,
you get 2 layers of voices going on. And especially in like combat, where the amount of barks that your characters do, like just everyone's just shouting.
The combat
over each
calls,
other.
that happen. Life Will Change is the track that plays after you've sent a calling card and you go back into the palace. So it's like you're doing the heist at that point, and it's just so up tempo, like really rocky, like upbeat guitars, and like it's just like we're fucking doing this, like we're doing this heist, and it's. And then, again, the vocals in that go crazy, and it's such a good track. And then Life Goes On is the track that plays when you do exams, which happens 3 times in the game.
Right.
And it's just, again, it's just ambient music, but it's ambient music that is good for the situation, because it's just your character sitting in an exam, and all it is just really funky bass lines. Which is like kind of like if I was in an exam situation, that's kind of what I would want to listen to as well.
I've also just like looking at it, like the titles of the tracks are really interesting. Where like, if you fuck up your exams, life will go on.
Yeah, life just kind of goes on. It's also like, you have this other life, but you've still got school. Like life still goes on, but
and also, but then life will change is when you're about to go do.
You're
going to
go change someone's life. Yeah,
I like that.
The farm from Destiny 2.
I hadn't thought about it until
that's
you put it on the
exactly
list.
Why I put it on the list, is because the Destiny 2 soundtrack is very AAA shooter, where it's all like big orchestral music, lots of trumpets, big violins and stuff like that. The farm is a very delicate song. It's very quiet, it's very muted, and it's a very good song, but it also mimics that kind of state of the world where it's just you're on the first resistance base, and all it is just this rundown farm. There's not many people. Well, there is, because it's an MMO, which kind of breaks immersion, but it's like in world. There's not many people. It's very small. Everybody's very fragile. It just kind of. I thought it stood out to me being so different. That it was.
New Heights and El Mancino. SteamWorld Dig 2.
Yeah.
That's the El Huervo track, right?
Yes, it's one of the El Huervo tracks.
Sorry, one of them.
It's the song that plays when you're in town.
It's
the main
real
town.
good.
Like, and it's just this really good lo-fi hip hop.
Like I hung out in the town quite a lot.
Yeah. And it's just a great little track.
Like El Huervo was one of the best parts of he was in the Hotline Miami soundtrack as well. He was a really good part of that. There's a couple of tracks he does on there that are phenomenal. I really like that.
But it's good. Again, I like other stuff we talked about. Is really good, like ambient kind of have on in the background music that works while you're doing other things. The
Safe Room, again, we're not talking best use of music.
No, I know, but it's a song that on its own kind of fits exactly what it's trying to do so perfectly, where you're in the safe room, which is in the game is a place where no enemies can go. Like they can follow you through doors and stuff like that, but they can't in the safe room. So you're supposed to be safe. So they have this, I think it's a banjo, but it's like very very like not staccato, like broken banjo hits that are supposed to be very homey and very like brings you down to earth, because you're in like Southern America, so it's very like brings you back down to earth, but over the back of it is just this constant wavering kind of electronic tones,
right,
and weird like wind noises and stuff that all kind of come together. So it's like you're home, you're safe, but there's always something there that's making sure that you know that you're not really safe, because as soon as you go out of that, you're in this kind of like horrible situation again. It works so perfectly, and I'd sat and listened to it a lot, like just on the background, and it did exactly that, where it was like I felt like I was focusing on whatever I was doing, but I was always kind of on edge a little bit. It's just this perfect kind of encapsulation of what that thing is trying to do. In the Flame is the title song to Pyre.
In the Flame is that's the one with both vocals, right?
There's a couple of them, but I think that's the first one. I think In the Flame is the thing that plays during the...
Hey, I think food just appeared.
Okay.
So we will cut here and we'll be back in a little bit.
Come back.
We're back and we're fed, and I have a beer, so it's going to go swimmingly.
Mexican food break.
Hungry work, call this deliberation nonsense. Where did we get to? In the Flame.
We're in the Flame and Pyre.
Yes.
Which we were arguing about whether or not it was the opening song, and I'm pretty sure it is because the lyrics are basically the setup for that game.
It's also involved in the final moments of that game.
Okay.
I will say that much.
Sure.
And the Vagrant song is the ocean.
Yeah, it's played when you're transitioning from a map on the ocean, either to another ocean map or back onto the land or something like that. And it's a really nice like folk song that tells the story of like a ship that got sunk. I just really liked it. Floral Fury from Cuphead is the giant flower boss on the first island.
Did we work out that wasn't actually called Floral Fury?
It is called Floral Fury.
Did we change it?
Yeah.
Because remember we looked it up before we started recording.
No, because there was Botanic Panic, which is the one where you fight the potato and the carrot.
Can you see why we were confused between Floral Fury and Botanic?
Floral Fury is the one where you fight the flower.
Okay.
And it is very like Latin inspired. There's a lot of like merengue beats and stuff like that, which match the boss, which does like a little jig as its idle animation that I really like.
Okay.
And then Carnival Kerfuffle, which is my favourite song on the soundtrack. It's just a really good like jazz song.
Does the King Dice?
The King Dice song is really good. You could add it if you wanted. It is very good.
I mean, like, let's start.
The lyrics are great, and it does, and it's a good moment of like, yeah, it probably should be on this list. It's a good moment of like gating the player and like telling them this is why you can't go on to the next world.
Do you know what it's called?
It's called Dice House. Die House.
Let me just check.
Let me look it up. I've got the entire soundtrack on my phone.
Okay.
Let me just.
Dice House.
Die House, I think it is. Yeah, Die House.
Die House. Okay, let me just add this to the list. Do you want to keep going while I add this to the list?
So we've got The Wooded Kingdom from Super Mario Odyssey, which is this is a really good song, and it's really weird for a Mario song.
It's the Steam Gardens.
Yeah, and it's just a really catchy tune with a bunch of surfer guitars, like 50s surfer guitars
and again,
on it.
Like it does the thing we're talking about in some of the Persona track in the weapons shop Persona track, where it goes one way and you're like, this is like sweeping Mario music, and then
the drums kick in
guitar
and it goes off. Yeah, it's a really good song.
It's really good. I really enjoyed that.
And then there's the track by Game Hidden by Mom 2.
Why is this here?
Because it's really good. It's a really good song.
It's like 16 bars that
get stuck in your head. And it's like the thing that I like about it is that it's like unrelenting. Like that game has like several levels.
That song stops for no man.
It stops for nothing, and there's like 20 odd levels of that game, and it just doesn't quit no matter how long. But anyway, so let's
get to like what's actually going to make it. Like all of these are brilliant.
They're all great songs. I don't even know how we start this. Like, how do we start this?
Yeah. So okay,
there are enough here to where.
Okay, I'm gonna start it. Okay. Cryptometrics is probably gonna win this category.
Let's not get too hasty.
Cryptometrics is probably in the top.
I agree.
Right.
Cryptometrics is probably
put
there.
That at the top.
Yes.
If we're talking Persona 5, I would say Layer Cake. Because the battle music started to get to me.
I would say Life Will Change because it's amazing.
That's
and
the heist one.
song.
I could probably see that too. So I'm going to move that up.
Okay. Now we just have a lot of...
right. So I think The Wooded Kingdom is really good.
Yep.
Is it top 3?
I think it has potential. I think there are easier things to get rid of on this list.
I think so.
Like the track by Hidden by Game by Mom 2 is probably not.
I assumed that was a given.
Okay. No, not that. Probably not. I really like the safer music from Resident Evil 7, but probably not.
I don't think it does.
It's not going to track
different things. The New Heights Del Machino is real good.
I really like that song.
I'm going to take that one as well.
Okay.
The Nier stuff is really good.
I think Pascal is really great.
Pascal's really good. I struggle to remove my feelings about that game away from the soundtrack.
You have to divide.
I know, but like
I'm here with you saying that Pascal is good.
Okay,
and
let's
we can have a discussion about that.
Let's move that up. I think Judgment is probably one of the funniest songs. But again, it's in context. Like it doesn't work unless you've got that karaoke backing. Like the video backing it.
I don't know. It still is. it's got that feel of that glam rock.
There's something about the moment.
But watching Kiryu in a headband with a leather jacket,
Kiryu and Nishiki doing the like on stage.
It's very
80s.
good. Yeah.
So I'm gonna move it up.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. That's
for now. We can talk about
out
it.
of Prey. I think that Everything Will Be Okay is very good.
Oh, do you prefer Alex?
Yes.
Huh.
Because I think it's a very good song, but it's also indicative of what that game does. I think it does both bits really well.
Let me just blast a little bit quick bit of this just to
remember.
This is going to come out of my laptop speakers. It's not going to be good. That is, yeah.
It's played a couple of times. The one time that it stands out to me is the bit after you're in... Is it data storage? Whatever it's called. There's a bit in data storage where you get blasted out of the one of the data stores.
Oh yeah.
After you're talking to the security woman,
Yep.
you get blasted out and you have to go back in through cargo, and it's in space, so that kind of really like big ambient works.
Yeah.
And you turn the corner and there are like 3 or 4 people that all talk to you all at once, which work on the guitar thing that really kind of like brings everything together and really humanizes it. But because you're in space and there's like the cystoids that are there and stuff, that creepy kind of electronic thing really, really works. Whereas Everything Will Be Okay is just a really good electronic song.
Totally. You're right.
Which I agree is very, very good. I really like that song, but I think Alex's theme works better as a total.
Okay. Do you have a preference for which one of these Cuphead songs?
Carnival Kerfuffle.
Okay,
because I think that Floral Fury is really good and it really works and it does a lot of really interesting things, but I think Carnival Kerfuffle's overall is just a better song.
Okay, so for everything under that line, is there anything else you really think could work?
Studiopolis from Sonic Mania is really good, but I don't think it hangs. The fact that one of the Pyre songs isn't on it, I can understand, but
the Pyre stuff might come back when we talk about actual soundtrack.
Yeah,
and actually, best moment actually might bring that back.
Then yes, above that line's probably fine for me.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you want to bring something up.
I mean, I would bring like.
You can bring Layer Cake up if you want.
I've managed to bring in the other Yakuza song in there by accident as well, but I also want to bring that Yakuza song in there.
God damn it!
And I kind of want Layer Cake.
Fine, bring Layer Cake up. I'm
so
fine with that.
That narrows it down. So we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11
narrows
tracks
for a choice of 3 that we have to make. Okay.
Okay, that's.
Are we okay with Cryptometrics? That's probably going to stay there.
That has to be in the top
fine.
3.
So we need 2 more. Do you think Judgment really doesn't hang on its own without the visual of Kiryu in a leather jacket?
Like,
I like it, but I get the joke more.
I would openly sing that song in the house. Like, it has happened a bunch of times.
Okay.
Tusk probably doesn't make it. Tusk is a fantastic encapsulation of like just the attitude of we are going to fuck shit up now in the combat, and it works really well. I don't think
I much prefer Judgment.
Yep,
to be honest.
Okay.
What else can we get rid of here?
Oh, sorry. Everything will be.
Yeah,
okay.
you can move Everything Will Be Okay down.
Sorry.
The Carnival Kerfuffle from Cuphead is really good. It's a really good jazz song on its own merits. But
which level is this?
This is Second Island, the clown boss.
Oh, I never got that far.
You never got that far.
Okay.
But it is very good, but it's not like... It doesn't really match the level, but it's literally just a good song. It's nothing else. So I think that based on everything else that's here, it can probably get moved down.
You're probably right.
We need to get things to join Cryptometrics at the top. And I think that...
I think it's...
If it were me, right, it were me, Cryptometrics, Life Will Change, and Alex's theme are probably the 3 that would do it for me.
It's Cryptometrics, Judgment, and Layer Cake for me.
Oh god,
like it's...
Is Layer Cake, do you think Layer Cake is really that... But why is it better than...
Because it goes in the direction you don't expect, and it works in a way that I... Like, Layer Cake encapsulates what Persona 5 does really well, better than I think the other one does.
In what way?
In like, it's got this kind of really weird undertone to it, and it's very surreal and very kind of, like the start of it is very surreal and very kind of creepy and like, and then it goes a different direction with the like the jazz influence and all of that stuff in there as well.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy.
Life Will Change is a really good. Life Has Changed feels less special, I think, than Layer Cake does.
Okay.
Like, I get the. Again, I don't think Life Will Change will work if it's not that moment where you're prepping to
that's
heist.
fair. Whereas you think Layer Cake would work.
I think Layer Cake is just a generally better song.
I'd be willing to go with you on that.
Let's move. Life Will Change.
The third one, you want Judgment, right?
I just think Judgment is such a Judgment encapsulates you go to a game tracks that encapsulate entire games like 80s Yakuza 0.
With that
just
song.
that track, and it's dumb, and it's well done.
But if you want to like encapsulate an entire game in a song, I think Alex's theme does that as well, and it does it in a much more subtle way than just throwing your face and like, look at how 80s this thing is. It is very delicate in how it does it.
I don't think it's a good track.
Oh, that's sad.
As a piece of music, I don't think it's
sure.
up there with the rest of them.
I can understand that. It works better as a soundtrack piece than it does a track.
Yeah, I think
which
that's
I understand.
what it is. Which again, when we start talking about
so
like, actual soundtracks,
right in that case, then
yeah.
What about New Heights and El Mancino? Because that's a really good song on its own, and it works well on the soundtrack.
It is.
Is it better than Judgment though? Is the question.
No.
What about go through the other ones like Pascal.
Pascal again is one that
I think it's got a lot of layers in that song.
This is super specific, but the live concert they did for Nier, if you watch that version of Pascal with the actual kids chorus behind it, it's super powerful.
Yeah, I think that song's got a lot of power behind it, a lot of meaning, and a lot of
it works.
Really well for what they're trying to do with that area.
Would I listen to it outside? I listen to a lot of the other tracks more.
Yes,
I think.
Yeah,
and
I'd agree with that. What else have we got?
I'm not moving anything yet.
Wooded Kingdom. It's really good.
Wooded Kingdom surprised me.
Yeah, it did.
Like, it doesn't seem like it's.
It doesn't seem like a Mario song.
It doesn't seem like a Mario song, and it doesn't make. It also doesn't make sense in terms of the level that it's behind. Like, why is this theme?
Like when I listened to it, I listened to it a lot, and I was saying to you how good it was, and then I said, "Why are there 50 surfer guitars in this? Like, is the level appropriate?" And you were like, "No." If it was like a beach level,
so
I'd understand
Steam
it.
Gardens is that level is entirely robot operated greenhouse.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make like the music doesn't match what's there.
Yeah.
But like. Yeah, this is real difficult.
Yeah.
Like, these are the 6. So it's Cryptometrics, Wooded Kingdom, New Heights, Judgment, Pascal, and Layer Cake.
I think that, so the two at the top, which are Cryptometrics and Layer Cake, I think are there. I think we agreed that they're...
Because now I look at the 6 and I'm like, Layer Cake's probably the weakest.
You think?
Yeah. Well,
Oh, that's taking out the other Persona font, yeah.
What was the Persona one we took out?
Life Will Change.
So it's really weird because like I feel like we should have a Persona track in here somewhere.
I mean, I want a Persona track in here, but I wanted Life Will Change.
But also like we are going to be talking about best soundtrack in a later category, and I like as a cohesive work, that might get better.
Sure.
And I realize that I'm saying this now, and I'm like, we're gonna have to fight for best soundtrack as well.
This is gonna be it's gonna be difficult. But I would say that Cryptometrics, Layer Cake, and it's that third spot that always gets me. That
Judgment made me laugh really hard. Like
it made me laugh really hard as well.
I can't see a top 3 without that track. Like it's so.
But like,
I listened to that track a lot.
I did as well, but then I also listened to all of these songs a lot, and like New Heights it was just so good, and it just feels bad getting rid of it. But then
New Heights is real good.
It's always gonna feel bad, I guess.
But I mean, do we want? No, they're so different. This is difficult. Okay, I think looking at the 6, I think.
Can we get rid of Pascal?
I think we should get rid of Pascal.
I'm okay with that
because again, like. The Nier stuff is a cohesive work.
I think Nier works better as a soundtrack as a whole. Next one to get rid of. On that list, I would get rid of Wooded Kingdom probably.
I think you might be right.
Yeah.
Like I will say that like my wife walked in on me humming that song. Like I had it,
The Wooded Kingdom thing.
I had it full blaring in my headphones, and I was just singing the surf guitar.
Yeah.
Like
It's got the right
and
the Mario idea of having that
also,
catchy.
It also
hook,
loops
but-
really well. Like,
Yeah, it does
the
look really
only
well.
video I can find of it on YouTube is a 30-minute edit.
it loops. Yeah.
But you're right. You're probably right. That drops.
So we're at 4, which is good. Now you have to pick between Judgment and New Heights and Layer Cake maybe. and do you want to get rid of Layer Cake?
Out of those 4, probably.
Oh, it's really good.
But like, okay, like, is New Heights really on here?
I was gonna say New Heights is probably all it is just a really good standout track, but it doesn't do a whole lot.
It also like
These other things are very good songs on their own, but also have a place and a purpose. So yeah, I think move New Heights down. It's probably fine.
So our top 3 is Cryptometrics, Layer Cake, and Judgment.
Mm-hmm.
This is Cryptometrics.
Cryptometrics wins at this point. Yeah.
Okay, good. At least that bit was easy.
At this point, Cryptometrics is both too good a song and works too well for what it's trying to do. That
it nails that style, and it feels weird that every time we go through these, like, that kind of track seems to win a lot.
Yeah,
but like,
I don't know. It hits somewhere in my head that just makes it so good.
You're right. But yeah, Cryptometrics from the Mammoth Remastered is the best original track.
Yep.
With Layer Cake from Persona 5 and Judgment from Yakuza 0 as runner-ups.
What is that fucking song?
It's so good. Like, I'm gonna need to go watch that.
Yeah, that entire karaoke bit.
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah. Okay. I'm
fine with that. That's okay.
Cool. Okay. So next is one of our big categories we have, which is best moment.
Yep.
And you thought we were talking about spoilers before. We were going to talk
very specific
about moments in games here, very specifically. These are kind of all over the place.
Yeah, you do it and I'll start grouping stuff together.
Because you start grouping it, I'm going to start reading and moving. So just leave it for now. Okay. And we'll come back to it.
That's fine.
So the moments we have here, and the reason I love about this category is because you have to describe it in a sentence or like 4 words.
A couple of sentences. I don't know. I spent a lot of time talking about that tyranny moment last year, but because it was big. But
more like the title that we have it.
In like how to describe it. Yeah.
So best moment we have the telephone club from Yakuza 0, the first cauldron from Horizon Zero Dawn, the nightmare from Prey, the treasure hunt from Prey, the lab from Prey. We'll need to.
It's a lot of Prey moments.
You need to expand on what you mean by that.
I know what I mean. Yeah.
Every fucking mimic.
I kind of disagree with this now, but
okay,
we'll get to that.
Okay. The cannery from What Became of Edith Finch. What becomes? What remains
of Edith Finch.
Thank you. The 2B boot up sequence from Nier Automata. This Cannot Continue from Nier Automata. The eyes in the trees from Hellblades. Hella from Hellblades. The reveal from Persona 5. The twist in Tacoma. The free fall from space from Lego City Undercover.
I can't believe that game's on a list.
Let me just we'll mention it. The objective hand from Life is Strange Before the Storm. Karaoke backdrops in Yakuza 0. The addition from Wolfenstein 2. The intro half hour from Wolfenstein 2.
Yeah. Okay.
The party from Wolfenstein 2. Mesquite from Wolfenstein 2.
A lot of Wolfenstein moments.
Ending Eve from Nier. The escape from Super Mario Odyssey. The intro from Torment Tides of Numenera. Numenera. Doesn't sound like a real. Anyway. Double boost from Sonic Forces.
I'll explain that.
Onion time on all caps from Million Onion Hotel. Your origin instrument from
Divinity Original Sin. Yep.
Full of Dolphins from Night in the Woods.
Christ, there's a lot on this list.
Yeah. Return to Beacon in the end. Evil Within 2. I'm trying to remember what that is.
When you go back to the town.
Yeah. The Final Approach from Pyre. The Summary Song from Pyre. Under Titan from Destiny 2. We'll get into that.
I think I know what that is. But
Eventide Island from Legend of Zelda. I was about to say Lord of the Rings.
Nope.
Legend of Zelda. The duel finale from Evil Within 2. The death of BJ from Wolfenstein 2. Father Servo from Nier Automata. Become as
Oh, I
gods.
need to add a couple. Hang on. Yeah, you keep going.
I think Become as gods might be the same moment that I'm talking about.
No,
Above.
I don't think it is.
It's not.
No.
Okay.
Um,
The opening of RE7.
you forgot that we added this, right?
Before. The Sega slot, the pinata moment from Sega Slots.
Yep.
And Hetsu.
Yeah.
From
I think that's what he's called,
Legend
but I
of
can't
Zelda.
remember.
Okay, we'll talk about that. Let's
Yeah.
just go top to
Down the
bottom.
list.
I'm going to try and group some of these.
Well, the first one's a Yakuza 0 thing, so you need to...
So the Telephone Club in Yakuza 0
Is that the Hostess Club, or is that
No,
something else?
This is the... So, this was a thing I didn't know was a thing until I read this, and it totally was. There is a There's basically a stuff where you could basically, like... Imagine if Tinder involved you calling random people. So you would go into...
Sounds terrifying.
You go into a section, you go into this booth with a phone. It's kind of like phone sex, but like
Okay.
except that you meet up with the person after it.
Oh, okay. To have
Um,
actual sex, or...
I don't know. Like,
Sure.
I think after they leave the thing, I don't know what happens. But there are two great parts of this. The first one is like you rent the room, right?
Right.
So you say I want an hour in the room, and the room is like a table, a pack of tissues, and an old phone, like an old kind of like 80s phone
Yeah.
there. And the first thing you have to do as a game is wait for the phone to ring. And the phone rings, and it becomes like a timing game where you have to pick the phone up as soon as it rings, or it moves on. And there's a fantastic cutscene where he grabs the phone, and like he grabs the phone, picks up, and like the cord swooshes behind him, and there's like backlit as he does it, and then goes like he picks up and goes, whooshy whooshy.
Yeah.
Like it's brilliant.
Is it similar to the when you buy a place and he does the
Yes,
thing?
it's
It's
one
this
of those
big
moments.
dramatic
Yeah.
kind of
And then the second part of this is the actual game part of the Telephone Club, which
Right.
is like you don't know what this person looks like, you only know their voice, so you have to talk them into like going for a date with you.
right.
So what happens is they'll say something and you have to respond, and all of the responses are whirling about in like a word cloud.
Okay.
And you have to shoot one of them with this weird heart beam thing, and there's like a delay of like 3 seconds, and it shoots wherever you aim, but the stuff still moves.
Oh, okay.
So you want
There's
to
a bullet
say,
drop.
kind of.
Okay.
So you want to say the thing that like, oh, I'm sure you look great.
Yeah.
You can actually like, you try and aim for that bit as it's moving and spinning.
Yeah.
But actually, like something else crappy will move under it. Says no, you look terrible, like that kind of
Right.
stuff. And there's a lot of like wordplay and weird stuff that goes
Sure.
on into that. It's just really funny when you fuck it up as well as actually
Yep.
doing it. And then as you're doing it, every time you get one of the questions right, because you don't know what this person looks like, the background is Kiryu's head filling in what they thinks it looks like.
okay.
So she starts as like this kind of very zoomed in, like kind of like it's like the woman's knee or whatever.
Yeah.
And as you do, like it starts to expand out, and it'd be like, oh, like. And
This
then
sounds really Japanese.
it's super fucking Japanese, and it's like there's some stuff in that game about the way they represent women that's
Yeah,
not great.
yeah.
But like that's so dumb.
Yeah.
That I can kind of look by
Dumb in the
it
right
a
way.
little bit.
Yeah.
I just thought it was. That was one of those,
Totally
that,
fair.
It was one of those moments that I came
This is
across.
the moment where we can talk
this
very
game
specific
is
about.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
First Cauldron. Did you put this on? Or did I put this on?
I think you put this on.
It was really just the moment where like everything you've seen in that game has been like the on-land
Yeah.
stuff, and then you drop into the first Cauldron. It's like this is
It's all
what
tech,
is
just-
any
yeah.
of this.
It gives real narrative hooks about like why like instead because it's like the big talk among all the people in that is like why are the robots here, what happened,
Yeah.
and being in that first Cauldron kind of gives you an idea of like
and
what's going on with the
they don't
robots.
signal it at all. Like
No.
you're very much with Aloy. Like as she drops into all this stuff, none of which she's seen anything
Yeah.
like before. And it's like it looks totally different, and it's really nicely built.
Yeah, it's very well paced. Yeah.
Some of the prey stuff.
So the nightmare is that just when the nightmare
That's just the
turns
first
up.
time the nightmare turns up.
See, I don't think that was particularly good.
So maybe it's just how I got it. But
Okay.
the first time it appeared for me was when I was coming out of I can't remember which one of the labs it is. You come out of one of the labs and you go up 2 sets of stairs, and then you're
It's
out
the
in
Arboretum.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when you go into the Arboretum,
Yep.
like out from that bottom
From
bit into the Arboretum.
from crew quarters or whatever it is. Yeah.
So you come in this thing, and as I was going up the stairs, I just heard this fucking thing. And
Yeah.
I was like, what is that noise? And you come out the door of the Arboretum, and this thing just fucking dropped in front of me.
Right.
This health bar appeared, and I got this objective going fight the nightmare.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? What?
See,
I tried.
So
and
it happened at
stopped.
exactly the same point for me, and I went up the stairs, and there's the big opening that leads into the Arboretum, and the thing kind of just poked its head round.
Oh, okay.
And looked like it clambered on and turned and looked at me, and then it said like fight or flight.
Yeah.
And I just like ran into a cupboard and hid, and it went away.
Okay.
It wasn't a particularly good moment for me.
Okay.
It's a cool idea, but it was just like, oh yeah, I just stood next to a wall for 2 minutes and left. Like, it wasn't particularly good.
Fair enough.
The treasure hunt, however, is very good.
The treasure hunt's really good. So the treasure hunt, the setup for that is like there's in the crew quarters you come across basically a D&D setup, right? It's like
There's a bunch of people playing a tabletop RPG.
Yeah, and they're obviously all good friends, and one of the things that they do is the woman who's running the game, sets up a kind of treasure hunt for the rest of the team.
Yeah.
And it spans the entire station.
Yeah. You have to find different maps from different people.
Yeah, and they're all like weirdly drawn maps, and you have to
they're all
decipher
hand-drawn,
what they mean and like find the bit in the thing, and it uses like the symbols that identify each part of the map. And then that all comes together in a story point, especially when you're doing the crew quarter stuff where you're following that woman's story.
Yeah, the Cho or whatever her name is, the security woman.
Yes, Cho. What's her name?
I can't remember,
but you're following her thing, and then like that all can all resolve at the same time as you're discovering like things that don't go well for her.
Yeah.
In that section, because she's dealing with like a relationship issue.
Yep.
At the same time as like all of the shit's happening to the station.
Yeah.
And
like, it's a really good doing what that game does well, which is just like telling the story of the people in this situation.
Yeah. Totally. The lab.
So the lab is the lab is the thing that I would take over putting every mimic on the list, which is like when you turn into psyoptics for the first time or whatever it is. Psychometrics, and you're going around, and this first time you're like scoping stuff, and you go into a lab after getting a bunch of voice recordings from different scientists that are like, look, the Typhon are out, the mimics are here, we just need to label everything that isn't a mimic.
Oh, this is the room with all the post-it notes?
And we just need to label everything that isn't a mimic, and we'll be fine, because then we'll know what the mimics are. And you're like, well, that's a dumb idea, but okay. And you find more and more voice clips of people talking about that, and then you turn a corner and you go into a lab, and it's literally a lab which is like quite a big lab space, where everything has a sticky note on it that says not a mimic.
Yeah.
And there are things in that don't have a sticky note on it that are mimics, and it is this brilliant moment of like the gameplay mechanics and the environmental storytelling in that game kind of coming together in one great little bit that I thought was amazing.
And also like I did the thing where I ran around and grabbed every post note and recycled them all.
Yeah, so you just get it resources. But then you do that and you go back and you forget what things aren't mimics. But which is why I would take it over saying every mimic, because towards the end of that game, mimic jump scares work less for me. Especially when you get the scope thing that lets you scan and see what are mimics and what aren't.
Yeah, I would say
but the
lab is a really good.
The first few times for the first hour when mimics exist is incredible. Like that, the idea behind the mimic is amazing.
Even just that first office bit where it's like
where you see them all scurry off.
And you're like, well, like, and the thing that I always really enjoyed about the mimics was, I'm sure I've talked about this before, but like the context of the world makes finding the mimics more interesting.
Yeah,
where like that world is so cohesive that you walk into a room and there's 2 desk chairs behind the desk.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So one of them's probably a mimic.
Yeah. But then you get to situations where you are in like a conference room and there's a desk with chairs all around it, and there's one chair that kind of looks a bit out of place, so you're like, that's a mimic, so you go out and whack it and it's just a chair. And you're like, oh fuck.
There's a couple of times in there where there were enough mimics in a room that had all disguised themselves.
Yeah.
And I couldn't track them down and they kept moving, and I went, fuck this shit, and dropped a recycler grenade in the middle.
And it's all
grabbed everything.
The mimics are a genius bit of design
so
that's amazing.
So
the cannery in Edith Finch, this is Lewis's story, your brother's story. Yeah, this is about your brother's story.
But the cannery is the section where what remains of Edith Finch is basically like a series of stories told from different members of the family. The Finch family's point of view. The cannery is one of the last ones you get, which was Lewis your brother?
Lewis is your brother.
Yeah. Where he obviously had some kind of mental issues and kind of crawled into himself.
Yeah, the stories are all told from different perspectives, and your brother is told from a story of perspective of his psychiatrist writing a letter to your mum.
Yes.
So the voiceover, it's very much told in like a third person style, like Lewis did.
So the voiceover you're hearing is from the psychiatrist that was dealing with him, and Lewis worked in the cannery in the town.
Fish cannery.
So in a gameplay thing, what you had to do was basically your left stick, I think, was the left stick would grab fish from one end, put it next to the blade, and it would chop the automated blade that would chop a head off, and then you would throw it in the thing. So you're doing this repetitive,
incredibly repetitive. It's literally just right up.
Meanwhile, like, because Lewis has crawled into himself,
the psychiatrist talks about how because he became so not bored, but like he just got caught in his own world and his mind, and he fell further and further into his own delusion, and as you're doing this kind of repetitive action, his viewpoint changes to where in the middle of the screen it starts as like a very low res like RPG like dungeon crawler thing, while the psychiatrist is talking about how he fell into the delusion of him being a warrior and a knight in this kingdom, and as it keeps going and the psychiatrist talks about how he's fallen further and further into his own delusion, the screen gets taken up by more and more space of this, and the graphics and the gameplay of that delusion increase
to the point where you're controlling an actual character with the right stick while doing
the left right up. And it keeps going. It tells us the story of his delusion of him like fighting monsters and falling in love and blah.
The psychiatrist is telling him that are telling the family that his condition's worsening while he's getting more and more into
his own mind. And it ends with him being in his own world being crowned king.
Because at some point, this bubble of your world has taken over the entire screen.
Yeah, like you're not seeing the fish anymore. And he's going to become king of this world, and he steps away from his place in the cannery and starts walking around. But as you're walking in the world to go to this coronation, you're walking in the world of the cannery, and it ends with him walking up the stairs to get to the queen to like duck his head down and be knighted or king. What's the word? Coronation. And it ends with him just jumping over the edge of this cannery. So he basically commits suicide by falling into his own delusion. It's just this amazing moment of the gameplay working in service of the story, and the two being so interlinked.
It's up there with like that moment from Brothers, and where every part of the game comes together to tell this part of the story. It's really, really good.
It's an amazing moment.
The 2B boot up sequence.
So this is the start of Route B, right?
This is yes.
This is when you're on 9S, and
this is when you're playing as 9S.
Yeah.
So basically, what happens here is it's a really dumb detail, but
I thought it was really cool. I liked it a lot.
Have you seen this?
Yeah.
So it's as you're starting the first playthrough, there's a moment where it takes you into the options menu to say like, hey, here's where you invert controls, here's where you set some stuff up, and then you leave and you go and do your thing. When you start Route B, when you're doing Route A, it's 9S that's telling to be like, hey, here's where you go to change your stuff. When you go through the other thing where you're playing as 9S, you then have to go. You're doing the same timeline, and you go and wake 9B up, 2B up, and you see the menu that you were manipulating before as 2B, and it would be really easy for it just to be like, oh, here's the menu, and that's funny, but it records the movements you made in that menu in the timing, because I remember I would never realize, but I vividly remember when I got into that menu going like, oh, while I'm here I should probably see if we can turn off subtitles, and you see me moving about the menu trying to find, and then it bombs.
It was a great little moment of that game showing you what the routes were going to be about, of like
and what
different
it's willing to
perspectives
do, and how wide it's willing to go with a lot of that stuff. I just thought it was really cool
moment.
This cannot continue.
This is the bit in the desert, right, with all the robots.
So there's you go out to the desert to go find this person or this robot, and you've come across this field of robots. They're all living in their own society, and they turn against, or they perceive you as a threat, and as they all turn to you, they start chanting, "This cannot continue," like in a very kind of rhythmic way, and then it moves into like the actual action, and the music picks up, and the music has the chant going in, and it's this fantastic blur.
It's further than that. It was like, "This cannot continue" was the moment when you go down into the valley in the desert, and it's all the robots fucking each other.
It's that moment.
So their society is incredibly like bacchanalian, and all they're doing is like the robots have clearly like seen something about humanity to where they know
They've
this
read
is
that
important.
bit of humanity,
so they're
and
doing that.
They're doing it. They're like there's sex happening. There's people looking after children.
Yeah.
Who obviously can't have related. Who can't have been produced from
Yeah.
all of these robots
It's
having
just
sex.
children robots.
So it's the first moment where you realize that like these robots are taking stuff that they don't understand from human history and trying to
again, good moment of like showing the story of that game.
but also like for me it was the moment where the chant turns into the music and then you're fighting
powerful.
Hundreds of these things.
Yeah,
that was a really cool moment.
The eyes in Hellblade, that's the
you said the eyes in Hellblade. I talked about that previously in
the music bit.
It was best looking.
Best looking, yeah.
We were talking about that, but basically there's a section where you're in a forest, and as you continue to go through the forest and you get deeper and deeper into it, they start to basically put like FMV eyes on the trees, but always at the periphery of your vision, and always in a way that's like if you look at them they disappear. Yeah. So it really, really gets into like the panic and the
except mental state of Senua at that time.
What's the word? The anxiety of paranoia. Thank you.
Yeah.
That she's feeling there, and it was a great moment because it was one of those things that like, again, it like I said, it didn't advertise it. It was just like it was there if you noticed it. Yeah. And it was totally there to do what it was supposed to do. It was very, very good. So
the Hela fight.
The Hela fight. So this is basically the final.
Yeah, it's the final boss. Right? Yeah.
What part of this was for you?
This wasn't me.
I didn't write this. Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
I didn't write it. I agree with you, but I didn't.
So Hela is the final boss. And that whole combat is you just like it's basically like not redemption, but like her
getting to the point, like
her
journey is over at that point. Yeah,
and you're basically running it at Hela over and over again. She's putting all this stuff in front of you, like enemies, and as you get further and further, she's breaking more of the scenery apart to put in front of you. Yeah, and every time she's doing it, she's looking more and more panicked the closer you're getting all the time. And that whole moment was good because, like, it's the moment where they take the limiter off Senua. Yeah. And she just, like, she permanently has her
slow down
thing, and you're just fucking these dudes up. Yeah. Like, considering how dangerous the combat's been up till then.
Yeah, it's the culmination of her finally, like, getting what she's been doing this whole time. After going through hell, basically. Literally hell to get there. She is finally like there to get Dillion back.
Again, it's a great visual moment as well.
Yeah, amazing.
Of the Hela stuff. The reveal of Persona 4, like, you're gonna have to spoil this for me, and I don't really care. I'm probably never gonna finish that game. But like, what is the reveal?
So the reveal of that game, I talked about this a bit in the podcast, to where it's like the moment in every like grifter heist movie when the good guys look like they're in such a bad spot, and then they turn everything around going, we were actually in control the whole time.
Okay.
Where
like they do in Ocean's 11?
Yeah, they do. They do the hustle moment of like at the very, very end when everybody's fucked and somebody smiles and then the music kicks in.
This is all part of the plan.
Exactly that.
Okay.
Where so the entire game is spent with the main character Joker telling an interrogator, the Sai Nijima, telling his story to her as she's like you're a criminal, you need to confess.
You've been arrested.
You've been arrested. You're in interrogation. She's interrogating you, so you're telling the whole story to her, and gets to the point. The intro shows the point at which you get arrested. So you spend the entire game getting up to that point again. Shows how you got arrested. The reveal is that there is a character in that game called Akechi, who you meet a couple of times throughout the story and is supposed to be this like boy wonder detective who's on the Phantom Thieves case.
Okay.
And you meet him a bunch of times and you talk about the Phantom Thieves with him, and he has his own ideas about what that group does and how they work, and you meet him when you're doing Sai's palace. You go into Sai's mind to try and change her heart to stop her from like interrogating the group and putting them on trial. And it's in this casino that is her palace that is...
Oh, so this is the intro to the game. Oh no.
Well, this is the palace that leads into the intro of the game. Right. So it's like flashback.
Yeah.
Which is a casino or it's like the police building in Tokyo that is turned into a casino. And it leads to Akechi being the one who actually turns on you, because you meet him in the metaverse and he's got persona powers, and you go, you should team up with us. He turns on you and he's the one that turns you in. And you start getting interrogated, and it ends with you with Joker and Sai talking, and Sai saying, "Look, I believe you. It seems like you're doing the right thing," and blah blah. And it gets really weird for a while, and then Joker says, "I need you to do one thing for me," and hands her a phone, and says, "Take this phone and show it to Akechi when you see him." And you're like, she goes, "I trust you. Okay, fine," and takes the phone, walks out, and from the player's perspective at this point, Akechi walks in the room. Talks about how you're an idiot and like you don't understand the power of the metaverse because he's working with his dad. His dad wants to corrupt everybody's heart so he can be in control. And says, "You don't understand the power of the metaverse. I should be the only one that has it. Me and my father will take over," and all that sort of stuff. Pulls out a gun, shoots the guard, then shoots Joker in the head.
Right.
And Joker is dead. On the table, like you see, holding his head, blood coming out. And then it cuts to various news articles that talk about how the leader of the Phantom Thieves has been found dead in the interrogation room of the police station, and like it has been reported by Akechi has been found dead, and cuts to all of your team members crying and sobbing, being like, "Oh God, what's happened?" And final shot is of your mate Ryoji in the middle of Shibuya, like kind of like really angry, and then the camera zooms super close on his face, and you see him smile, and he says, "We got him." And you go, "What the fuck?" Like the main character's just died. Like what the fuck's just happened? Cuts to like way back in the game, and they show all the work that they've done previously to where Sai comes out of the interrogation room, meets up with Akechi coming in, shows him the phone, and then it does the weird metaverse ripple. And they both go, "Oh, that was weird," and doesn't matter. Walks off. She hears the gunshot and is freaked out. Here's a recording from Futaba, who's like your stepsister, that says, "Okay, now go back and help Joker. He needs your help." She goes, "What?" It's like panicking and is like talking to guards and is like, "There's a gunshot. What are you talking?" And the guard was like, "I didn't hear anything." You walk through the door and Joker's fine. He's sitting there like perfectly okay.
So he sent him to the metaverse and killed him in the metaverse?
Sai helps Joker get out. Joker goes back to the cafe, meets up with all his friends, and the plan turned out to be, I've got notes in front of me because it gets so complicated. So Joker gets caught and put in the interrogation room. The team, sorry, I need to think about this again. The team are going into Sai's palace, which is part of the police station. Which is a casino within the police station, but it's one specific building that leads into other real world places. So while you're in the palace, there is a tunnel that leads into the interrogation room in the real world, not in the metaverse. So in this metaverse, you go through the whole thing, you steal the treasure, or you make it seem like you've stole the treasure, but you've not actually. Because you've you know what the treasure is, and you had a replica made, and it's like a briefcase. So go through the whole fight, you fight Sai, you get the briefcase, you run out. This is all to fool Akechi, who now thinks that you've got the briefcase that would destroy her heart. You don't. All that was there to do was to get the projected version of Joker in Sai's mind into the interrogation room in the metaverse.
Oh, what? Okay.
So that when the real Joker gets caught and puts in the interrogation room, they do the interrogation, Sai comes out and hands the phone to Akechi that sends him to the metaverse. Akechi goes into the metaverse version of the interrogation room where Joker is sitting. The projected version of Joker. He kills the projection of Joker, which does nothing.
But I thought
she gets brought back into the real world, goes back into the interrogation room, and he's there. This is told in a fucking 50-minute cutscene of everybody explaining all the shit that they had to do to get to this point, and it's nuts and insane, and a lot of it doesn't make any sense.
I thought the whole point was like if you die in the metaverse, you die in real life.
No, if you have the part of like your heart stolen and you're killed in the metaverse, then you die. But the projection of Joker isn't Joker's like heart. It's the projection of Joker in Sai's mind. Because she's been interacting with Joker this whole time, so it's fresh in her mind. So that projection goes into her metaverse.
Oh my god.
It's nuts, right?
That's ridiculous.
It's insane, and it's told in like a super long cutscene, and you're just sitting going, "What? Like, what the fuck?"
How much of that did you have to look up after to make sure?
Not a lot. Like, it actually explains itself. Like, afterwards, I kind of went, that's insane, but I kind of understand what it is, and it was just the sheer just like ball phase. Like, I love the fact that they did the perfect heist movie thing of like the good guys are always in charge.
Yeah.
But
this was all part.
They
of the
did it in such a bizarre roundabout Persona way.
That's kind of great.
It's
actually.
amazing. It's so good that I really loved that particular bit.
We've got a lot to get through.
Yeah,
here, so
I know.
let's just quickly go through some of this.
So the twist in Tacoma
is just the fact that like you were never there to actually.
Yeah, so you're sent to the station to get the AI run by the corporation, but you're actually there as part of a
like a resistance movement.
Movement for AIs because they think AIs are sentient.
Yeah.
So they pull the AI out and only after like their consent, the AI's consent,
right.
they take them away to somewhere safe.
So was it that more than the twist about like the fact that the company that runs the station that hired these people are the ones that are actually like they're
destroying it to try and get automation?
Yeah.
It's all. I think that's all part of the same.
It's all
thing.
part of the same.
Because it's all in that like last 15 minutes or whatever.
The free falls from space is not going to be part of this. It was just a moment where like it's a Lego games. It's a little bit janky and like it mostly works, but the writing's the thing that kind of keeps you going.
Sure.
And like it's a Lego game, so it's kind of fun to play. The final section of that game is you're on a space station and the space station explodes in a Lego fashion.
Yeah,
and you have
so
to
bricks everywhere.
free fall your way from space back down into Lego City. And it's actually a really kind of well done thing where you're free falling down, you're flying through asteroids and like dodging bits of it actually works surprisingly well.
Yeah.
The only reason it's here is because it's in a Lego game.
Oh, okay, sure.
And I just thought it was a kind of a nice a cool moment in there.
Objective hand.
This is really dumb, but this is in Beyond the Storm. Before the Storm, you're playing as Chloe.
Yeah.
This time, and they did a much better thing of this. But there's sections in every episode which is like you've got to get an overall goal. So like in one of them, it's like fix the car. So you have to go around the junkyard and get bits for the car to fix. And then any time you can press L2 and she has the objective written in her hand.
Oh,
so
okay.
you just hit L2 and she goes, and it goes first person. You go, oh right, yeah. But there's a moment later on like when things get super serious.
Yeah.
With where like Rachel's like a lot of shit has just happened to Rachel.
Yeah.
And you just look at it, one of them's like, comfort Rachel, and you're like, oh right, okay, right. Like it's
this is what I have to do, right?
Like, oh right, okay. Like I did it by accident, and like
the fact that it's written there is
the moment that it's still there in moments where you really shouldn't be looking at your hand, and the fact that it's there and it's all really like patronizing. It's like, no, you should probably go. Like I just thought it was a really dumb moment.
The addition in Wolfenstein, otherwise known as the
we
bit
missed
where
the karaoke backdrops.
Oh, sorry, yes.
You know, like one of the best parts of that game.
So yeah, whenever you do karaoke in that game, you cut to a CG scene of them in the appropriate environment for that song.
Yeah, like go watch the video. We've got a video on the site which has some of that stuff.
The Judgment bit, I think.
It's Judgment, and it's just like.
Does it happen for every song?
Yes.
Okay.
There are only 2 songs that Kiryu sings in it, though.
Okay, right.
It's Judgment and
something else. It's like a ballad, right?
So, the kind of more ballady one, which is pretty good as well. It's not as dramatic. So there's 2 for Kiryu, there's 2 for Majima as well. Yeah. The Majima ones are pretty great.
Well, yeah, Majima's mental, so yeah.
But like Majima ones are pretty good. Also, I will briefly say, I know it's not part of this, but Yakuza Kiwami has a new one that they added for this. Like that has the old songs, but it also has a new one in it as well, and it is ridiculous. It's about Kiryu in prison, and there's a moment where he's doing like he's tending the garden in the prison, and he pulls 2 radishes out and holds them like weapon. Like it's ridiculous, but it's like you want to kind of coalesce the kind of some of the dumb parts of that game.
Yeah, it's very well.
And the only thing that would let it down actually is because you're so concentrating on the rhythm action bit of it, you can't really see it. But like the first time I watched it, and like just the first time I actually got to see it, not concentrate on the game.
Yeah,
this is amazing. Like,
it's
great.
It's very well produced.
Yes.
So the audition scene in Wolfenstein 2, otherwise known as the bit where Hitler turns up.
Yeah.
You as BJ go to Venus, under the guise of being an actor, because you've taken out the actor and you look like him.
Well, because the actor's supposed to play you.
Because Hitler is hiring an actor to play BJ in his "Here's How I Took Down BJ" movie. So you turn up and the producer's there and she's all crazy and saying you need to learn your lines because Hitler's going to. Well, no, she doesn't actually say Hitler's going to be there. The director will be here. You really need to learn your lines. So BJ reads the lines and writes them on his hand. Because he's not a smart man, he's just there to kill Nazis, so he writes the lines on his hand. And then Hitler turns up, an 80-year-old Hitler turns up in his pajamas and a dressing gown with a Luger, and just it's the one. It's like they nailed exactly what Hitler did. It was his manner of speech and his like way that he talked. And he does this whole thing about how he took down BJ, and it's like the lies that he tells that's how he got into power. It's
the definition of a man who's like he's so far gone.
No one can stand against him because he's the Fuhrer, and he's been in that for so long that his mental state has just gone
off.
Also,
he is entirely incontinent.
Yep, he like pees himself. He pees in a bucket. He like eats a bite of an apple and then throws it away. And you do the line reads, and the lines are all smudged on his hand. If you don't get the right line read, Hitler shoots you in the face.
So I didn't see any of the messed up line reads.
Just shoots you in the face. It's hilarious. It's really, really funny.
I'm disappointed I didn't see them.
Because it's BJ kind of... It's almost as if he knows that he's not got the right line.
Yeah.
And he says it, and then Hitler shoots him. It's great.
Okay.
So you do the line reads, and then someone else does the line read, but does it badly, and Hitler goes off.
So there's like 4 actors have come up to take this part. One of them dies basically immediately.
Yeah. Hitler starts talking about if the people had read Mein Kampf, and someone says that they're getting through it or something, and he shoots them in the head.
Yeah.
Because that's what he does. And then they do the line reads, and then Hitler talks for about 2 minutes about how his line reads were wrong because he didn't have the bile and the hatred that BJ has that he knows because he stared Terror Billy in the eyes and shoots him in the head. And then they do a like visual, like actual acting bit of it where the one remaining actor gets up and goes in a box with a guard and does the line and goes to do the fight scene, and the guard butts him with the actual rifle,
breaks his nose, and
he tears down like an actor, and then BJ goes in and massacres him. But there's a point where Hitler does a big speech and then gets on the ground and just sort of like has no energy, so just curls up in a ball.
Yeah.
You can kick the shit out of Hitler if you want. That's pretty good. I haven't
seen that. Like I did. I don't know why I didn't even think to try and interact with Hitler when you have that free movement. But
no, that was the first thing I thought of.
Right,
was like, can I kill Hitler in this? And like, fuck yeah, you can. And you just kick him and he dies. It's
nice.
But yeah, it's like, for me, it was the moment that really got what that game was saying.
Yeah.
That like they got Hitler so perfect into like his manner of speech and how he talked and how he thought, and it'd
be so easy to do a scene like that and fuck it up or like really trivialize it.
Yeah.
Like
this sort of portrayal of Hitler has been there before as this kind of like not wacky but like kind of like larger than life version where he's just insane.
But there's a difference between that being like and them turning like the myth that is Hitler in this world into like a human being with frailties.
And he's
coming
very
to the end
human.
Of his life. It was a fantastic moment, and it's like that game just kept like we'll talk about the rest of them in a minute. But like that game just kept like raising the bar for like how far they're willing to go. And they pull it off every single time. And the Hitler scene was just like
you couldn't believe it.
It's just incredible,
unbelievable. It was when Hitler like rounded the door and the shot like went and it's very clearly Hitler.
Once you realise who it is,
I was just like, "You fucking kidding me?" Like that's you're actually putting Hitler on Venus and he's shooting him at.
There's moments in this game, and it happened quite a lot in this game where like where I'm sitting playing something and it will just go, like, and it just got louder and louder the more like,
the more he talked and the more things were just happening. It was it's crazy. The intro half hour.
So is this just like...
I didn't put this on. This wasn't me.
Oh, is it not me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean that...
I thought the intro half hour was fine. I didn't think it was particularly...
I mean, it's like, this is really here for the moment where they kill Caroline.
Yeah,
like,
that's pretty
in
big.
front of you immediately and like...
Because it impacts on him mentally for like the entire first half of that game.
It sets up Frau Engel as the... like a fantastic evil...
very, very evil person.
Not protagonist. What's the other one?
Antagonist.
For the rest of the game, like it sets her up in a phenomenal way, and and again, like it starts as they mean to go on. We're like, no, we're going place. Like,
we're going to do.
Hey, remember
shit like
one
this.
of the main characters in the last time? We're gonna kill her in front of you immediately, and then do things with her head.
The party in Wolfenstein is BJ's birthday, and everybody gets hammered on the U-boat.
It's funny, like. It was the only one of those scenes that I felt a little bit weird, but I get.
It was the moment of them like being human and realizing that everybody needs a break.
And also, like, this might be like they might die tomorrow.
They might die tomorrow, so they need to.
It's immediately before their final push.
Yeah.
And they're like, we might all die tomorrow, so let's all get wasted.
Yeah.
And then there's the party scene, which is like a series of cuts of
it's all
different things
sharp
that
cuts
happened.
between dumb moments of like BJ riding a pig,
and then you've got the follow up the next morning when everyone's hungover.
Yeah.
And like, did you have Fergus?
Yes.
So like when Fergus
he's lost his
arm,
hand. Yeah.
and it's during the party as well as when Fergus.
Is that the thing where the side quest is to find out what happened and it's him trying to chat up that girl?
Yeah, because you get.
Because I really like that, because you go and talk to people and they tell you their different stories of it, and it's just like weird pan cuts to like, here's what happened, and then it pans back and it's like, here's what happened.
The bits of the party you weren't there for or don't remember, like it cuts back, and like I felt kind of bad for Fergus at that point where he's like, no, like he's kind of wanted to ask out one of the French people that's come on the boat for the whole time. And like Fergus has lost his arm, it's been replaced with this robot arm that has been misbehaving basically since it went on. And he's like, no, like, and he talks to the clarinet player and says like, how am I going to do this? And he was like, oh, just go talk to her. And he says, I'll give you some music. And the guy starts playing like clarinet in the background, and he goes over with a flower and says, there's something I've always wanted to ask you, and or there's something I've wanted to do for a long time. And his arm freaks out and just grabs a boob. And you're just like, oh, Fergus.
Oh, Fergus is so bad.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's a great just human moment for those characters.
It does. Wolfenstein walks that line between dark and
it
comedy.
plays the tone really well.
It just runs all over that line, and it does it really well.
Mesquite, where you go back and you see your father and you learn like BJ's history from his childhood.
Well, I mean, you've been getting bits and pieces and like how your father.
Yeah, I mean like the real. Actual fact of
but like your father was never like your father is painted as a horrific human being in that thing, and then one of the moments you get from Mesquite going back there for sure is that like because like your father was like very physically abusive to you and your mother. Kind of never really treated you particularly well. There is the one moment where like
the BB gun
moment, which shows like again like everyone involved in this is human and they all have their reasons for doing stuff. Like nobody's evil for the sake of being evil. Like everyone has at least some kind of.
They have their own justification for why.
But for that one, when you go back and your father is now much older, and then that's the point you realize that like when he asks what happened to mom, and you realize that his father sold her out, not even for a lot.
No, just for a nice place upstate.
An extra little bit of farmland. Like, that's how indoctrinated he is at this point.
That's how quickly people were willing to go to.
Totally. And it was a really... Over. And then there's that really intense moment with your father, and then it turns into an action thing as the airship picks up your childhood house, starts flipping
on its
it
side,
round,
and
you're fighting on top of it as you're in the air. Like, it's a great
little
sequence.
moment. Ending E from near.
So this is the last.
Is this the thing with the credits and rebuilding people?
But there's a whole follow up
to
that whole thing where ending E is like, so you do run ending A and ending B are the kind of two parts of the original game.
Mm-hmm.
Then you do section C, or you see ending C. Okay, so there's A and B, which are the two parts.
There's 2B and 9S,
and then the next run you do, there's a moment where there's a final fight between
the 9S and 2A.
2A and 9S.
Yeah.
There's a final fight there, and you choose basically who you want to control in that fight. And one of them gets you one ending, one of them gets you the other ending.
Yeah.
Once you do both of them,
so that's C and D.
So you've done C and D.
Yeah.
The moment when you finish the second one, there's a moment where like your pods, your robots, start to go like. That's the moment where they're like, no, fuck this. Like, this is wrong. That we're
this cycle
is terrible. And it's the moment where it starts to break away from like the cycle continuing.
Yeah.
And it's the moment where it gets into the credits, and from that point on, it's just nuts. Where the credits come up and it turns into like an overhead like 2D shooter with the credits. The credits are coming down. You're shooting the credits.
Yeah.
The credits are shooting back. I thought it was really funny that like the CEOs of both companies are like bosses in that section, which I thought was pretty funny. And you can't like there's no way you can win that. And every time you die, it says like, is this worth continuing?
Yeah.
And then you go through it and you die slightly further on and it goes like, this is only a game, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
But and it goes on and it says, do you want help?
Yeah.
And if you say yes, a bunch more people come in with names around them who are other people who have finished the game, and they come in and help you fight. And as you're doing this, as you get further, as more people come in, the music comes up with more voices as well as it's coming on. All these names are going around. The names are shouting encouragement, like text encouragement is coming on the screen. And then once you get to the end, you get to the final moments, and the robots, the pod says to you like, do you want to help other people the same way you've been helped before?
Yeah.
And you say, of course,
Yeah,
yes, sure. The only way to do this is to delete your save.
Yes.
Delete your entire save. And I knew this was a thing. This is a thing I'd heard happens, but I didn't believe them. And I was done with that game.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, okay, fucking delete my save.
Yeah, get rid of it.
And they're like, no, we mean it. Like, there's prompts coming up, like, no, we mean it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, delete my save. It says, no, like, we are going to remove all of your progress of this game so that you can then send your name into the ether to help the next person that comes through. You go, yeah, fucking delete my save. Yeah. And it doesn't even do it as like a progress bar or anything like that. It opens up the in-game menu. Like, so the menu's got like your map and your inventory and all that stuff. It opens up the menu and then deletes all the sections of the menu, moves on to the next bit and starts to delete, and then it gets the final thing and shuts the whole thing down. And it's like, the pod's like, you've done a great thing, and it just fucking kicks you back to the main menu. The main menu changes as you do the endings. It's back to the original one, and you're like, it's fucking gone.
I guess
like,
done,
there's nothing there. And I reloaded in case like Cloud Sync would change it, and it was like, no, it's gone. Like, it was just like weird, like in a game of weird moments. I thought it was a really weird moment.
The escape from Mario Odyssey?
This is the finale of Super Mario Odyssey, which is really, it's kind of, it's ridiculous. So, core concept of that game is you have the capture mechanic, right? So you're capturing fucking Goombas, you're capturing the Hammer Brothers, you're capturing everything through that thing. So the final battle happens when like Peach has been stolen by Bowser, and he's went to Mario, and you have your final fight with Bowser in this big arena. You beat Bowser. Bowser hits the deck, and the whole place starts to, like, you're inside a volcano.
Yeah.
Whole place starts to fall on itself, and you're like, "Fuck! How the fuck do we get out of here?" And then you kind of see Mario look around, and Mario fucking throws the cap at Bowser, and you fly into Bowser. You
possess Bowser.
You've seen the intro at least of Odyssey, where like when you go into the frog and there's like pictures of real frogs.
Yeah.
Like there's pictures of like NES Bowser going by.
Oh yeah.
As you go in there, as you fly in there.
That's pretty
awesome. And then you're
awesome.
just controlling Bowser with a fucking hat and moustache, and then there's this whole section of like you're now in control of Bowser, who can like smash through blocks.
Is this like the end of Halo 1?
Kind of.
Where you're like warhogging
kind of.
and
so you're just like charging through this level, breaking shit up.
Wow.
There's supports you have to break for this cave so you can create a thing to get up. You're just slamming all this stuff.
That's pretty awesome.
The music's going off. There's a section, like, you know, the 2D sections that you go into a pipe. There's a 2D section where you're 2D Bowser. You're jumping up on this thing.
That's awesome.
The music's going.
That's like a smart idea.
It's not a great. I died a lot in that sequence.
Right, yeah.
It's not that great.
But
design,
it's a cool idea.
But as
moment.
The moment, I was on a plane when I played that sequence, and I threw the thing, and he started to catch Bowser. Like, fuck off, like out loud. Like, you're really good at it.
It's really good.
Sure. It was just a really nice moment.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah. Torment,
yes, the intro to Torment. So it was a moment that kind of really, it's the first thing you do in that game, and it really shows what that game is. Where it's. And it's in that game you're playing like a descendant of a self-built god, essentially, as a man who's learned how to transfer his consciousnesses, so he like transfers out and leaves the body behind.
Right.
So you are one of these bodies, and it literally, the game starts and the UI loads in and everything, and it's a black screen, and a voice, a narrator, not even like a character voice, a narrator for the game starts talking about how you wake up and you find yourself in a pink pod surrounded by goo and blah blah. And goes through the description of the pod in really like big detail, like a DM would in an RPG. And then your options are like sit in the goo or open the pod, and you can, and whichever one you choose, the DM will give you more. The narrator will give you more description.
It's kind of like a text adventure at the start.
So it's kind of like a text adventure, but then you open the pod and it talks about how the wind is rushing by your face, and you go through this whole thing about like you get out of the pod and you need to try and like you you say, I want to spread my body away to try and slow me down, and the narrator will say, you spread your body out and you slow down a bit, but you're inevitable and coming to the... But it was just this amazing moment of the narrator very much playing the role of a DM in a tabletop RPG.
The way it would,
And that's exactly what that game is. That game is all roleplay, like, because it's very, like, you can not fight in that game at all. Like, you can just solve everything through talking.
Right.
And it's just... It was the perfect moment of like showing that game is just all about
how does it turn from that like black screen intro into
so you do enough description and then the narrator will say you see the ground approaching you quickly and it cuts to like a art like hand-drawn thing and you see like a star in the sky fall and it goes through the roof of a building and that's you're described in the game as the falling star.
That's cool.
And it was just this awesome moment of like really showing what that game can do. And it throws back to like why the original CRPGs back in the day were as good as they were, because they were just like
they were trying to emulate.
They were just automated versions of AD&D. That's all they were. Yeah. So that's what that showing was.
That's awesome.
The double boost from Sonic Forces.
What?
So this is the literal only thing I've seen out of Sonic Forces apart from the character creation. Is this where
this is the 3D Sonic.
This is the new 3D Sonic, not Sonic Mania.
Yeah.
There are levels where it's you create a character and Sonic together on this stage, and Sonic's has a boost bar. Like as you collect rings in the 3D ones, you get boost that helps you go faster. And it actually gets to the point where you can do a double boost, where you and your original character jump in the air and fly about, and then fist bump and go super super quickly. But it's not even that, it's you do the dance and the theme song, a song called Fist Bump, by the way,
that's when Fist Bump comes in,
goes right. No, there's other moments, but it's like as they're swirling around, it's the bit in the chorus where the drums leading into the line that's like together we can show whatever, and it does the drum line, and the second the final cymbal hits is when they fist pound, and then they go super quickly. It's awesome.
That sounds really dumb.
It's so dumb,
really
but
dumb.
it's great. It's so good.
Onion Time's funny.
Yeah. So it's literally just the moment in the Million Onion Hotel when you match more than one roll, when you do like a double or triple, and the guy just goes Onion Time, and it just goes insane.
Yep.
That was it. I just really like that.
Yep.
Your origin instrument, it was more of a choice than a moment, but it was a choice that I really really liked. Where when
this is Divinity, right?
Yeah, Divinity Original Sin 2. When you're creating your character, you do all the usual things of like your attributes and your skills and your feats and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The very last choice that you make is this thing called your origin instrument, and it's not even like a guitar or a fiddle or whatever. It's like weird Middle Eastern instruments like an oud and strange like stringed instruments and stuff like that define how the music plays out when that character does action and when they're in combat.
Oh right.
So like when your character does something, let's say in the world, and you do like a speech check and you like convince someone to do something, the music will sting with that specific instrument.
Oh wow.
And it can completely change depending on what character you're doing it with.
How many instruments are there?
4.
Oh okay.
And the battle themes and some of the ambient tracks will also change depending on what music you have as the main character. It was just this really cool choice that I thought there would be like stings, and there are stings, but it influences that soundtrack in such a way to give it such a personal feel.
That's cool.
Which is what that game's all about. It's all about like personal stories and how they interact with other people and stuff. It's just this great little choice that game did.
I like that. That's cool.
So Full of Dolphins from Night in the Woods.
Full of Dolphins in quotes. This kind of encapsulates. So the reason why I really like, one of the many reasons I really like Night in the Woods is that the writing is kind of,
it's perfect for what they're trying to do.
Yeah, it's writing teenagers or like early 20s the way that people in their early 20s actually talk.
They talk like you would talk to your friends at that point.
So there's a section later on where things are starting to get real weird, and May's talking to, I think it's Bay or Greg, I can't remember one of the two of them, and she says, I'm just like, we need to go do this because I'm so full of dolphins.
Yeah. And
they're like, and I think B turns around and goes, what?
Yeah.
Says, I'm full of dolphins. You know, when you've got all this like nervous, anxious energy, and she was like, endorphins, whatever, and just runs off.
Oh right, okay.
I was like, and it was the moment where I paused the game. I was killing myself laughing.
That's really funny.
It's just a great encapsulation of some of that, the writing that happens in that game. That was really.
And it just ends with her going whatever and running out of her room.
Fucking whatever, because like she's just like she used to get this thing done, and she's just like, sure, that as well. I think where she says, yeah, that too, and runs
walks off. That's good. I like it.
Return to Beacon. So there's two Evil Within moments here. Evil Within 2 is not great. In fact, it's very disappointing for reasons I'll talk about later. But there are the kind of two moments in here where the return to Beacon. So Beacon was the
projected
hospital.
town.
No, Beacon was the hospital from the first game.
Right. Okay.
That you spend basically all your time in.
Yeah.
And I assume I played 4 hours of that game and then returned it. It was so bad. But it's the hospital you spend a lot of the start of the game in. And there's a section towards the end of Evil Within 2 where it's essentially like a boss rush of the main bosses from the first one.
Oh yeah.
It's all the ones you recognize in the areas where you would recognize them. So it's like the dude with the chainsaw and the safe in his head. There's the woman who crawls out the blood. And it's just this like really fast one after the other stuff. And there's a lot of moments where actually like in the story where they go back to Beacon, because the Beacon in that game is kind of a metaphor for Castellanos' guilt about losing his daughter in the first game, and the whole Beacon.
Sorry, what's the name of the main character again? Sebastian Castellanos.
Sebastian Castellanos.
Oh, that's great.
But it's all about like their daughter died in a fire. Like the house was on fire, and he was out at work and wasn't there to save her.
Yeah.
So he has this permanent guilt. And there's a section where like as you're going back in Beacon and some of the kind of, and it's not even a main, it's like a side thing.
Yeah.
And you go back and you see like you in your Evil Within 1 costume lying on a table, saying like, I'm never gonna do it. It's all like, this is all my fault. And like you pull a fucking pistol out and shoot him in the face to like deal. That's how the poignant when you're dealing with your guilt. That was a really cool moment. And then the other one was the dual finale where the final section of the game is, so there's a turn in that game.
Oh, you finished this game?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's a turn at the end where the detective that you're working with in the first game, I can't remember her name. Lily? No, that's your daughter.
Don't remember.
Can't remember her name. Kidman. Detective Kidman. She apparently there's a reveal in the first game where actually she's working for the company that run
Beacon.
STEM.
Oh, STEM. Right. Yeah.
Or that runs the machine. I can't remember the name of the company is. But she's actually working for them the whole time, and like she betrayed you and lied to you and all this kind of stuff. So she's the one that brings you back in to be like, Lily's not dead, your daughter's not dead, we faked her death so we could use her in this machine because we need a child because she's innocent and can handle all these personalities. We need you to go in, we've lost contact with her, we need you to go into the system and get her out, or get everyone out because the whole system's failing. So she's out in the real world kind of giving you updates and all of this kind of stuff the whole game. There's a point later on where you found Lily and you need to get out at this point, and the guy who's in charge of STEM goes, we don't need him anymore, just shut the system down and let him die. And Kidman, there's a reveal at that point where Kidman has been working with both Lily and your wife, who's also still alive, from the inside of the machine to completely destroy the company. Completely destroy the machine and shut all the shit down. So there's a moment where like she can't pretend anymore because she's now been ordered to kill you, so she can't pretend anymore. Right. So there's a great section where you're found Lily and you need to escape in the machine. And she's in the real world, and she goes, well, it's kind of all down to you. Pulls out a gun, takes out the 2 guards, dives behind cover, and you start playing as her. Like the first time you shot actual humans in the thing, and you're like ducking out from cover and taking them out and running through the thing, and like you have to then get down. She's in like a viewing chamber like above the main machine, right? And she's like, I need to get down to the machine to get him out of there. So she takes all these guys out, kicks her way through the door, runs through the door, and as she runs through the door, it cuts to Sebastian running through the door of the house to get Lily. Like, it's a really cool cut. And the whole ending is you jumping between these 2 characters in really cool cuts.
That's pretty awesome.
Pulling your way out. It's a really
good finish to a disappointing game,
actually, to that game, and I'll get to why it's disappointing later on. The 2 pyre moments they're probably not going to make it. I just thought they were really nice. Where the final approach, so the rights, or the cycle of the rights is coming to an end.
Oh, okay.
Like that's the point of the story where like so the rights are the way that you
get back into society.
You get people back into society. If you win the rights, you get to send somebody out.
Yeah.
And once you've done the first cycle of the rights, they're like, okay, it's now more open, and that's the point where it starts to become procedural, where you're going to fight different people in different areas and all this kind of stuff. The third, I think it's like the second or third time through, you only do 3 prep fights as opposed to the 5, and then the star saying the final right is available, and you're like, well, that was quick, but all right, sure. And you go and do that, and then there's another cycle where there's only 2, and the minstrel then goes, there's a moment where the minstrel goes, I need to go consult the stars, and he disappears and comes back after the thing says the rights are ending. Like there are 2 cycles left for you to get people out of here.
Yeah.
Or there's enough cycles for you to potentially get most people out.
Yeah.
But there are like he says to you like
because as you're going through, you can send people back from your team.
If you win every time you can send somebody from your team up.
Yeah.
But so he says like, and I think it depends on the difficulty level you set the game at. But there's a moment where he goes, there are 2 cycles left. Mm-hmm. There are 2 moments for you to get rid of people or to get people back.
Yeah. And
you can still like, you can not send anyone back if you're bad. Like if you're bad at the final right. No, but like no, sorry.
Oh, you mean if you lose?
If you lose the final right, you cannot send anyone back. So the fact that you've only got 2 cycles left, you're like, fucking, I'm gonna get these people from home.
You need to get them out. Yeah.
And the very last cycle, when you've done the final right, and they say, okay, the last cycle's going, you have 1 match before the final right. You only have the 1 left.
Okay.
And they always set it seems, to be as far away from the main star as possible. So it's the very first section you're in, and you do that final thing. It says, right. Once you're done with that one, it's like, right, it's time for the final right.
Yeah.
And the minstrel says, do you mind, like, I want to sing one of the songs of the land while we go there. Yeah. And it plays
in the fire
as you're flying over all of the worlds you've done so far to get to the
final that's right. Really nice.
It's a really awesome moment, and it kind of cuts in at the right moment. I just thought it was really cool. And then the summary song is the very ending of that game, where basically it's kind of like, it's immediately before the credits, but it basically is Corb and
Ashley something.
I can't remember her name, the female vocalist.
I got it.
They sing basically the song of your journey,
like individualized, or
yes, like
Ashley
personalized.
Barrett.
Ashley Barrett, thank you. And it's personalized to what you happen, so it will go through every character. So like I sent back Hedwyn and Jadariel, for instance.
Good.
They both got out in my game, and there's a section where like she sings. It's like she sings about that they're gonna. She said like, Fair Hedwyn talks about the fact that Hedwyn made it out, and that Jadariel's there as well. Talks about Jadariel, how the what are the bird people called?
I can't remember.
But like
it's been a while since I played
the one in the team, for her, she didn't make it out in my game, so Jadariel like felt bad for her because she didn't make it.
Yeah.
And this is all done in a song.
Oh, that's really awesome.
The whole way out, and it goes through every character, and it properly says like about like if they didn't make it out, what they did in the world, and how if they did make it out, how they influenced the revolution and all of this kind of. It's a really cool moment, and they must have recorded so many permutations of those songs, and you would never really know unless like
you did all the permutations.
You've done it a bunch of times. It's really, really cool.
Under Titan, is that the final?
Did you? This is the moment where you go under the oil rig, and it's like the city under the thing with all the
with the screens and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
like, do you remember when
really
we
cool.
played through that? You're like, what the fuck is all of this?
Yeah, it was really cool. It goes from like the oil rigs of like Titan with the lightning river. And you go under it, and there's a whole like city, like futuristic city of like screens that has been taken over by nature and stuff.
Yeah. It's
really nice.
I just thought it was a really.
It was a cool moment. Yeah.
Again, art design moment.
Eventide Isle.
Eventide Island is one of the big moments in Breath of the Wild where I was like, what the that whole game is like, what the fuck is this? Because they don't advertise any of this. So there's a section where it's near Kakariko Village. No, not Kakariko Village, the other main one.
Yeah.
Where there's a big cliff next to the water, and if you go up on that cliff on a clear day, there's like an island just like far away.
Yeah.
And it's on the map, but it's like super far away in the distance. And I was like, I wonder what that is. And I marked it on my map and left for a while, and came back after I got some stamina. I was like, I can probably make that.
Yeah.
And I took the run off, like parachuted out to this island,
Oh, you hand glide there?
Hand glided out there. Took like 2 stamina potions to get there to continue holding on.
Yeah.
But you get there and you land on this island, and it's like completely like surrounded by water, deserted island. And you get on there, and you know the voice that happens in the shrines, which is like this. The voice comes over and says like, "This is a test from the gods."
Oh.
And it turns into a fucking survival game. They take all of your stuff away from you.
Okay.
Like they take all your armor, all your weapons,
all your food and potions, and
all your food and all your potions.
Wow.
You keep your stats, you keep your hearts and your stamina, but they take everything away from you and says there are 3.
Do you have your slate abilities?
Yes, you have your abilities.
Okay.
So there are 3 ball and socket bits on the island. You need to get 3 balls and 3 sockets in one go, like without dying.
Oh, okay.
And that's how you successfully do the island.
Wow.
And on this island, there are like you have nothing to start with.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you're like, fuck, I'm on this beach. I'm gonna grab like there's a stick. I'm gonna grab the stick, and there's a one of the jellies.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get the jellies, and that gives me the things from there. And there's like a rusted sword there, and it's crap, but it'll do. And there's a bunch of moblins over there, so I'm gonna sneak up in their camp. And they've got food, right?
Yeah.
And there's now a campfire, and it just like.
Builds.
And there's a Hinox there where there's actually really good weapons, but you don't have any of your stealth shit, so you need to be really silent.
Sure.
And it will just chase you around the island if you fuck it up. And since you have no armor, basically everything one-shots you.
Yeah, you'll just die.
You end up using all these stuff, and it's just like it's one of those moments where like they are more than willing to just fuck with everything you know in that game. And I still haven't finished it. Like I've tried it a couple of times, and I'm only now like at the state where I've got enough health where I can probably do it.
That's pretty awesome, though.
It's a really great moment.
Death of BJ.
So what exactly do you mean by this?
The bit after the courtroom. So because I like the courtroom scene, but I think that the actual mechanical bit of that is
bad.
Crap.
Yeah.
But afterwards, after you've got captured and Frauengel pulls you in front of the Washington Mall and beheads you.
So this is the execution of BJ.
This is the execution, and completely unlike. You spend, especially because of the courtroom scene, you spend a lot of that time going, it's gonna get out, like you have to get out and kill all these Nazis and stuff. Nah, she beheads you because like in a really brutal way with like a saber and like
because they do it a bunch of times where it's like when super Spesh comes in and says we've got a way out. It's like oh you're gonna fucking do this, and then you get shot. You're like,
he dies.
Fuck.
Yeah,
and then you get put in front of the court, and then you break out the court, and it's like nah, it's another
hallucination.
And you're like oh you're just fucking with me.
So yeah, Frauengel chops BJ's heads off and it flies into a incinerator.
Yeah.
So you think I'd sat there going, oh wow, he's dead. Like how do I finish this game now?
Yeah.
And then they do a thing similar to the Persona 5 thing where it was like, the good guys were actually knew what they were doing the whole time. Where Set is actually controlling a drone, grabs his head before it gets in the fire.
How dumb this was. Yeah.
And takes it back to the U-boat where he attaches it to, for some reason, pipes that supply him with oxygenated blood and puts his head in a tank of water. And his head survives. And then they tell you that they actually have this German super soldier body and this like special neck thing that'll mean that you can attach yourself to it.
Meanwhile, here choose your special upgrade.
Also, choose whether or not you want to be able to run through walls or jump up really high. And then they do it, and BJ just has this brand new body.
The fact that game could pull that off, and it's not like it seems believable. Like the internal logic.
You're totally just like, yeah, sure,
of course, of course.
And the selection of your like special power up is done by like blinks.
It doesn't happen very often, but the moment where like because when they do the footage you see of like BJ getting executed and the head falling is like from a TV camera, and then like it rewinds. You're like, what the fuck's going on here? And then
you see the drone.
And you see the drone, and like you see them controlling the drone, and it's like they're not gonna. And then they catch it, and I put the controller. I was like, fuck. Yeah,
it was awesome. It was a great little moment. Father Servo from Nier.
Which one's this?
This is in like Route A. It's continuous, but you can keep doing it. But in the main desolated city area, way on top of a building is this robot dressed in a karate gi. Did you not see this?
No, I didn't
it's
see
awesome.
any of this.
It's a robot dressed in a karate gi and a bandana around his head, and you go up to him and you talk to him, and he basically just turns around and says, "Fight me! I'm like the master. You need to fight me." So you fight him and you massacre him because he's like just a tiny robot. And he says, "You're trained well." go find me these items and I'll improve myself and we'll fight again. And you go, what? Like, I think 2B9S actually says, like, why would I help you?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
but they, like, give in, and you find these items, and you go back to Father Servo, and he says, come back to me, and we'll fight again. So you go back to him after a while, and this time he's got, like, I think he gets taller. Like, he's got bigger legs and bigger arms.
Strap these parts to
yeah,
him.
so he's, like, made a mech suit, essentially. It's like, right, fight me now. So you fight him again, and you beat him again, and he goes, you're very powerful. Find me these items, and I'll improve myself, and we'll fight again.
Yeah.
So you do it again, and you give him it, and you come back, and he's got blades for hands.
Okay.
And he goes, right, let's fight now. And this happens like 4 or 5 times, where like he like gets blades for hands, then gets a giant mech suit and becomes huge, and eventually becomes like a massive mech. And you fight him, and you beat him, and he goes, like, I've done all I can, like I've trained my hardest, and I've made myself the best possible thing. Kill me. And you're like, what? And it's like, well, all I've done is like train to be the best, and you're clearly better than me, so you might as well just end my life. So you just kill him, and he explodes.
Man.
And he was an awesome little robot dude that I really liked. So you had to kill him at the end.
That's ridiculous.
So that was really sad. But it was just this like great little dumb throwaway moment that was
okay.
Become as Gods is the moment in Act 1 where you meet the death cult in the factory.
Yeah.
So you go back because you need a transmitter or something like that.
Yeah, there's something you have to get from the factory.
You and Pascal go there.
Yeah.
And you find there's a bunch of robots who have made their own society, as you do.
Yeah.
Like in the forest, there's the night people. And you meet a bunch of people who are all very religious.
Yeah.
They all have robes and hats.
Yeah.
And they talk
There's
about
definitions of religion.
Yeah,
Robes and hats.
Robes and hats. And they like talk. They talk about they want to become as gods.
Yeah.
And they want to like. And you get to the top of the factory and you find your thing, and they all similar to the Shall Not Continue moment. They all start just talking about becoming as gods, and they start suiciding.
Oh right.
Like they start jumping in lava and like blowing themselves up because they want to become as god. It was a terrifying moment and like critique of like cults and like the interpretation of like religion, and it was a weird moment that I thought was just bizarre.
Yeah,
it was
strange.
just an interesting moment.
Okay.
Opening of Resident Evil 7 is a really good setup for that game.
Does it? So the thing I've always seen about that game is eventually it does become more of a Resident Evil game later on. Mm-hmm. Like, does the core like the mood that it sets in that opening, does it actually permeate?
It persists for the first half of the game.
Okay.
Yeah. So the entire like 2 houses of the Baker house, it persists.
Okay.
For that.
Cool.
So the opening is just like you have to go to this house to find your wife Mia because she's been working out there, and you get there and you can't find her.
Yeah.
And you find like this old dilapidated house that's got like pots filled with maggots and stuff like that. And you get to the basement and you eventually find Mia, and she talks about how she can't stay here because Dad's coming and all the scary stuff.
She's been there for like 3 years.
Yeah, she's been there for 5 years, I think it is.
Yeah.
And you lead her out, and then she turns and becomes insane. And starts chasing you down with a knife, and you have to like run away and hide and stuff. And she eventually like stabs you through the hand, and you fight her off, and then she turns back again.
Yeah.
And you believe her, and you follow her a bit more, and then she turns and fights you off with a chainsaw, and you have a gun at this point, and you shoot her, but nothing really works because she just seems to not be taking any damage, and she chases you down the hallway with a chainsaw, cuts your hand off,
that was
and then
brutal.
runs. It's a brutal scene, and runs off, and you are kind of like just wandering around with your stump for a hand. And you hear Jack, the father, just kind of do his whole "welcome to the family, son" thing. You turn around, he punches you, and you wake up with your hand stapled, with your codex on your wrist, and Jack standing over you. And then it opens up into the house. It's just an amazing, like brutal, tense moment that really shows like what that game was going to be.
Totally.
That I really really liked. The Sega Slots Pinata moment literally happened about 3 hours ago.
Yeah, before we started recording.
Yeah.
There's a game called Sega Slots, which is the virtual slot machine.
Crappy gambling game.
Which has a bunch of Sega properties, but you get, if you do well or you pay real money.
If you wait 4 hours.
Every 4 hours you'll get a pinata that you physically whack by tapping the screen.
You start it and you tap wildly on this pinata while the Mexican Hat song plays, and the Mexican Hat song just gets faster and faster and faster as you're typing. I was laughing for a very long time when that was happening, but I just thought I'd throw it on there. And then Hetsu from Breath of the Wild, I just really like it when he dances.
Oh,
this is the
maracas.
big dude with the Korok seeds.
It's what I was saying earlier. Like, there's something very, very comedic about the fact that he does the dance, puts the maracas out, and there's a half-second beat before the thing. Like, he's forgot to do it. There's like, oh,
yeah. I just think it's a great little thing.
Yeah. So
that's all the moments.
Yeah. What do we feel strongly about on here? The cannery, I think, is big. I think that was a very great
the Hitler scene from Wolfenstein. I think is big.
You're probably right with that. The addition.
What is there a Yakuza moment that you want to put on here?
I mean, the telephone club was a series of just insane moments.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna add a line to this document so we can put stuff above it.
Yeah. So the cannery, the addition scene. I think the
lab's real good.
The lab's a really good moment in Prey.
The lab's really good.
Hella fight in Hellblade's really good.
Yeah.
The twist in Persona is really good if it's really dumb.
Yeah, we'll need to talk about that one.
Like, it's not going to win or anything. I just really needed to talk about how dumb that was. What else have we got here?
Oh man.
Is there anything else? How do you feel about the Pyre finale? Do you think that was?
It's good, but I don't think it's. I think it was just a really nice way of summing that game up.
Sure.
Like, I think the game does much better things.
What
else we got here? I think Eventide Island is a good summary of why I really like that game.
That's fine.
But I don't know if it's like
top 3.
Yeah, because there's so much in that game that's just like, what is even happening? The intro to Numenera, I could see an argument.
I really like the intro to Numenera.
I could definitely see an argument.
It's a really good moment.
I'll move that up as well.
Other than that, I think it's okay.
Do
you want the twist from Tacoma on there?
It was good. I don't think it was. Do
you want the ending to E from Nier Automata on there?
No.
Are you sure? Even though can you separate your hatred from that?
It made the fact that it went and deleted my save game was very freeing.
Oh, okay, right.
But
fair enough.
No.
Okay, I think that's okay.
I think that's pretty much everything.
So our top 3, I think the Cannery and the Addition are
Cannery and the Addition are
solid.
Real strong.
What?
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm just looking at the Wolfenstein 2 moments. Like,
do you want another one on there?
Is Mesquite stronger? Probably.
Then
not.
I don't think anything's stronger in that game than the Hitler scene.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Because it does the tone thing perfectly, and it is just shocking.
You're
like
right. You're right. Full of Dolphins was a great moment, but but Night in the Woods is going to get its credits elsewhere.
Sure.
I think that's our 6 at the top.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
So it's the Cannery from either Finch, the Addition from Wolfenstein, the intro of Numenera, Hella from Hellblade, Telephone Club from Yakuza 0, and the Lab from Prey.
Yeah.
Right, so I think the Cannery's got to be there.
Yep. I think the Addition's got to be there.
Yeah, and man, the Lab was a really good moment.
I personally really liked that. I thought it was an amazing moment of environmental storytelling, and it linked to the game mechanics so well.
Yeah, like I'm looking at this other stuff, and I don't know if I feel as like as an
the only other thing that I could see would be Hella.
So I'm looking at individual moments, and like Hella works because of everything that's happened before it.
Yeah.
I
don't think that's not necessarily a bad thing.
I mean, you're right. You're right.
I think the Hella moment is very strong. It's just whether or not it's stronger than the Lab is. I actually think it is. Thinking about it.
You think it's stronger than the Lab?
Yeah, because the Lab hits its note really well, whereas the Hella thing is a really like progressed moment, and it's the entire game leading up to it, and it fits really well.
I could see that.
And then the bit after the actual fight is also very good. It's all about like Senua like accepting the loss of Dillian and like not accepting her mental state, but like coming a bit more to terms with it and stuff.
Telephone Club's not going to make it, but after we're done recording here, I'm going to show you that fucking footage.
It's fine. I want to see it.
So bad. It's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the Cannery. I think it's the Addition. I think it's Hella.
Yep. And then what wins?
This is tricky, right? Because I think it's the top 2.
Yeah, I definitely think it's the top 2.
And
I I think that the cannery moment is. I'm trying to think how to put this. It's an amazing. It is like the best moment of that game.
Yep.
Of a very, very good game that does a lot. And it links the storytelling and the gameplay so perfectly.
Yeah.
Which is what that game is all about. Then the Edition does that, but it does that from like a tonal perspective. Because the actual mechanics in that bit are like there isn't any. It's just the
I mean, like
the scene.
Like I was saying, like it'd be very easy for them to fuck up the introduction of Hitler.
Yeah.
In that game, because he wasn't in the first one at all, right? So yeah, man, yeah.
I think I would go Cannery over Edition.
You think?
Yeah, because I think it's not only tonally very good, it's mechanically very good,
and it's all in essence of telling that story,
and it's all in essence of what that
and
thing
just
is
like
trying to do.
Even if you look at it from a technical perspective, like what it does in that little bubble that progressively gets like it gets really well done, like all the stuff
the progression is very good to the point where the art style of his delusion actually starts matching the art style of the world, and it's I think I would go Cannery over or Lewis's story or whatever you want to call it.
I would probably call it the Cannery's probably because I had to because when somebody else I saw described it as Lewis's story, I was like, oh yeah, who's Lewis? That's your brother,
so the Cannery scene is probably
Cannery is
that's I feel
I think that's a good list, but yeah, that fuck me that Edition.
Yeah, that scene's insane, but
okay, I'm happy with that. So that's the Cannery from What Became of Edith Finch is our best.
What Remains of Edith Finch.
What Remains of Edith Finch. Every time I fuck that up. Best moment of 2017 with the Edition from Wolfenstein 2 and Hela from Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Yeah,
it's a good year for moments. That was a
good
big
year.
List.
That was long.
So before we go into the next one, I need to show you this.
Yeah, you can show me his health and